I've seen him on Fox and Friends this morning. He has been making the rounds a little bit on this whole alien thing, and not only the alien thing, but also this strange case of the scientists who have disappeared or otherwise been murdered or dead in mysterious circumstances, all tied to the Jet Propulsion Lab and beyond. You know, I've been talking about this regularly for the past 2 weeks. Is that him? Okay. So he has made it through security, and Congressman Burlison is on the phone line with me now. Congressman Burlison, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good, especially because I'm traveling back home to Missouri.
Yeah, buddy, we always miss you, but we appreciate what you're doing up there in D.C. You are a fighter, my friend, and we love your passion. I saw you on Fox and Friends this morning, I know, and I know you've been talking about this. Your name was mentioned by Brett Baer the other night as he was discussing that documentary, and really a lot of mystery surrounding what has been going on in the background of the space program and beyond. What is top priority for you?
Well, in general, is getting to the truth. And I think that Trump has really opened the door. I've been looking into this topic for the last probably 2.5, almost 3 years. And it's a fascinating topic. What intrigues me about it is not, I come at it as a skeptic. I famously will always say, I'm from Missouri, you're going to have to show me. But at the end of the day, we have truly so many activities and reportings by some highly credible people from our military or scientific community that it's too much to ignore. And it's worth looking into, particularly when it comes to our national security. When you have reports of objects that are flying over our military airspace, that are defying authority, that apparently can outmaneuver our own jets, that's very disturbing. It's something that we need to look into, particularly when you are hearing from some of these pilots who say they feel like their safety is being threatened by some of these objects.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then deeper, you have individuals like Congressman Burchett and others who say they have been briefed and are learning not only about some biomedical materials or whatever. That's the strangest thing. What have you heard about that?
Well, I've heard a lot of that material or those narratives. I haven't gotten my hands on any real evidence of it, and I've been in the same briefings that Burchett has. I think I just come at this from a perspective of a skeptic again. Like, your narrative is your narrative unless you can produce some kind of receipt. It's just a narrative. And so what I'm trying to get the receipts. I'm trying to get the real photos, the real videos. I'm trying to get my hands on any real material. And that's the goal that I'm trying to pursue.
Yeah, well, I mean, and what about the missing scientists, or what about the dead scientists? I think what are we up to 10 of them now on this?
I think this morning they announced an 11th scientist at age of 34 who was working on anti-gravity, shot herself, apparently was suspicious suicide. So yeah, this is a disturbing trend. What's really disturbing when you look at how many people went missing, and people don't just walk out their front door without their cell phones anymore. Right, Jamie? When was the last time you went anywhere without your
No,
cell phone?
I know. It would be crazy to not have my cell phone with me. In fact, I panic whenever it's not even close by. So,
but if in this circumstance, in the last year alone, we've had, over a period of about 5 months, you've had about 5 people walk out their front door or just go completely missing, all separated from their cell phones or any electronic devices, leaving their entire life behind. So their wallets, everything. So this is what's highly, highly disturbing, and that all of them were working in some of our most advanced science. So you have jet propulsion scientists, you have the anti-gravity researcher that supposedly killed herself. You have people that are working on advanced plasma technology, which is directly related to a lot of the UAP conversations. Plasma is a topic that keeps coming up as a type of technology that apparently has some kind of effect on on these craft. And so this is really disturbing, especially when you take into account that some of these people were on my radar to talk to. Some of these people, yes. In fact, one of the gentlemen who was a former intelligence officer, former military intelligence, who was working for one of our military contractors, who was going to come forward. He mysteriously committed suicide 2 weeks before he was scheduled to appear. We had another individual, General McCausland. That gentleman who would have, if there's someone in our U.S. military that would have known what was going on in advanced aerospace, and maybe if there was a reverse engineering program, it would have been him, because he was overseeing all of the advanced research that the Air Force had. And many of the scientists that had gone missing were working, or he was giving them the grants to work on their projects. So those scientists went missing, and then he went missing. He walks out of his front door. He's someone that he was on our list to talk to. In fact, my team had attempted to talk with him a while back. One of my team members did. They were rebuffed. He didn't want to talk about it. We tried to reach out. I told the team, reach out to him again recently, and he mysteriously disappeared. I'm not saying that was from me. I'm saying that there's just too many people that are connected to this topic that everybody knows you need to talk to, and these people all have been going missing.
Yeah. Congressman Eric Burlison, where do we stand now, though? So what exactly would be within the grasp of Congress, or where you are, to be able to get to the bottom of this? What has to happen?
We really need the FBI to look into this. So, and look, if you remove the alien topic from this has all the hallmarks of a foreign operation, right? And it would be highly disturbing to know that China or Russia has agents in our country that's knocking off our top scientists. That appears to be the most likely thing that's happening, but it's worth a deep investigation by our FBI, and that's why I'm leading a letter. I already led a letter last year when I learned of the first person that mysteriously committed suicide that was supposed to testify. And then right now I'm leading a larger letter with Chairman Jamie Comer to request a briefing from the FBI on this topic, on all of the scientists that have gone missing or dead.
Yeah, it would seem you bring that up about the foreign entity because, I guess, if you want to try to romanticize something, you could say, oh, these people were snatched up by spacemen. But the more likely possibility is, as you have pointed out, that is some kind of foreign power that either doesn't want us to latch on to what they're already doing or doesn't want us to advance in any way or what have you. And so they wanted to take out the people who with the most brains. It doesn't explain really the actual murders or the suicide, but that is a scenario that absolutely the FBI or even the CIA, for that matter, should be looking into.
Absolutely. And that's why I was glad to see that Donald Trump has been asked, that the press is asking questions about this. And now it's gotten to the point where Donald Trump is having to answer these questions. And I was glad to see that he's trying to get to the bottom of this as well. I want to get the same briefing that the president gets on this because, look, we are co-equal branches, and the president deserves to know, and Congress also deserves to know.
Right. And then one more quick question. I know it might sound dumb, but who was giving the briefings?
This would probably be the FBI.
Okay.
So that's who we're making the request to do the investigation. We've gotten briefings from the FBI on this topic of UAP. So their briefings are some of the most intriguing. They do have actual footage and videos that they've showed us before. The FBI is definitely engaged in this topic, and probably more so now that Trump has tweeted that he wants disclosure on the UAP front. So the FBI is, I think, they've been researching this to a limited capacity, probably are ramping up their efforts. I know that ODNI, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard's team, is moving in priority this topic up the list of priorities.
That's great. I know she'll do a great job, and I'm glad you're on it, Congressman Burlison, and I'm wishing you a blessed and happy weekend back home in Missouri. Keep us in touch. Let us know how things are going, and I appreciate you taking the time out as you are running through the airport. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you, Jamie. Anytime, anything for you, buddy.
Yes, sir. That is Congressman Eric Burlison, and I've been talking to you about this for the last 2 weeks, and it's finally kind of coming more to the fore in terms of the news. You know, it's interesting how little this story is being covered. I know Fox News covered it. I know some people have mentioned it, whatever. But you've got 10 scientists missing. And I guess they're only, well, not really missing, a couple of them dying under mysterious circumstances. And there was more attention paid to Savannah Guthrie's mother than to 10 people who are invested and involved in the space program who are gone or walk out their door, as Congressman Burlison said, walk out their door and just disappear, leaving their phones behind and everything else. It's just is absolutely crazy, and our priorities here. And we'll see as things get crazier. I want to, before I take a break here, I wanted to get to this because do you see the Pope in Africa? This was in Cameroon. Totally went off on Islamic jihadists. You see that?
Jesus told us, "Blessed are the peacemakers, but woe to those who manipulate religion in the very name of God for their own military, economic, or political gain."
Wow. Man, I wonder what the Iranian president thinks about that now. Or what all the jihadists think about that, all the Muslim crazies think about that.
Dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth.
Oh, wow. Crazy. Oh, I'm sorry. He wasn't talking about Islamic jihadists? Oh, my mistake. I'm sure he was talking. The news people all say he was talking about Donald Trump. What do you think? He's reading a speech, concocted by David Axelrod? Is that true?
Yes, my dear sisters and brothers, you who hunger and thirst for justice, who are poor, merciful, meek, and pure of heart.
And being killed by Islamic jihadists and macheted while you're at church.
You who have wept, you are the light of the world.
Yeah, shame on those Islamic jihadists who are running around Africa killing you, right, Pope? Yeah, don't hold your breath. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, speaking of religion, you're going to hear from the hyena in The Lion King. She seems to be an expert when it comes to the Bible. So she's going to turn you on to that in just a little bit here. Also, Stephen Moore, if he is going to pick up the phone, yeah, baby. Talk to him as well. Elizabeth Kayser is joining us. Straight Line Sunday nights here at 8 o'clock. She's going to join us with an update on all the data centers and the data center controversy. Not sure what is on Doug Giles' mind on this fancy Friday, but he's going to be joining us at 1 o'clock. And then Rick Pogue down the line as well. So it's going to be a fancy and packed Friday, my friends. It's Common Sense Radio.
Cars do the usual dances. Same old cruise in the curbside crawl. But the roller girl, she's taking chances. I just love to see her take them all. No fear alone at night, she's sailing through the crowd. Enemies, his phones are tight and the music's playing loud.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new app.
And listen anytime, anywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Gemini Wealth Group, I will tell you, when it comes to Jeff Portman and that team, these people are amazing. They are experts. You're getting more than 100 years experience in the financial world. I'm talking about in investiture, in portfolio management, you name it. So when you are wanting to retire, you're thinking of retiring, or whatever it happens to be, you need the Gemini Wealth Group on your side to help you through it all and to make sure that you are going to be having some wonderful, amazing golden years. Brought to you by the great planners at the Gemini Wealth Group and strong supporters of free, common sense, conservative radio. Jeff and the team will sit down with you. You bring in all your info. Some people have said, I'm not quite sure whether I want to retire just yet. It's been kind of nice getting that amazing paycheck, so I'm not quite sure whether I want to release myself from that. Well, they know you do. They know you're ready. They know you're ready to retire. You're ready to kind of just enjoy your life and enjoy what you have amassed over the years. And so at that stage of the game, they'll go ahead, put it all together for you, let you know about their really unique investment program, investing in terms of diversifying your investments, making sure plans are there for your housing, for your medical costs. What do you want to do? Travel, all that kind of stuff. And then suddenly, ladies and gentlemen, you're sitting there and they hand you the permission slip to go off into your golden years. The Gemini Wealth Group, proud supporters of free common sense conservative radio, theGeminiWealthGroup.com.
I want to share something with you. Cooking a pizza using coal creates an amazing pizza. Only one place to get it, Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. Of course, they offer a wide variety of pasta, but you just visit the website napolistl.com, dine in or take out, and get ready for patio season. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield Valley. Try it. You can thank me later.
Hi, it's Chris Arps, and I've been a customer of Royal Banks, Missouri for many years. They're a full-service, locally owned and operated community bank with 17 locations throughout the St. Louis area, including locations in Hannibal, Jerseyville, Granite City, as well as 2 locations in St. Charles. Plus, given today's headlines in the overall banking industry, it is reassuring to know Royal Banks, Missouri has the highest financial ratings in St. Louis for stability and strength. Royal Banks of Missouri is reinvesting in its hometown, University City. They've now opened the doors to their new location at 8550 Olive Boulevard at the corner of Olive and McKnight. Stop by to see their refreshed look with the same exceptional Royal Bank service you know and trust. Learn more about the move in University City by visiting royalbanksofmo.com today. That's Royal Banks of Missouri, the community bank for your community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
John Bill Roofing reminds you we are in the stormy season, and that means if you have even the smallest leak in your roof, you could soon have a much bigger issue. Call the John Bill to make sure that your biggest investment is protected. That call can save you major dollars. If you do get hit during a storm, John Bill has a rapid response team. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF. 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 John Bill.
This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
The last Republican-elected California governor was Arnold Schwarzenegger. More centrist than Republican, but he was in the GOP. The previous Republican California governor, Ronald Reagan. Former Fox News host Steve Hilton is considered the leading Republican candidate and has Trump's endorsement. Still, Vegas odds favor another Democrat to win big. Now, one of the favorites had been Eric Swalwell, or was until he imploded. Now the odds are 65 to 70% in favor of Tom Steyer, a billionaire. Again, this is California. So you're thinking, this doesn't involve me. You need to hear what Steyer plans. First, this 68-year-old has a 5-point plan, more left-wing, more radical than anything Newsom had. Plus, he wants everyone who's been deported to be brought back. He wants to get rid of all immigration laws. The billionaire also pledges any U.S. Supreme Court ruling he doesn't like, he will ignore. Now, for all of those shouting, no kings, will they be putting Steyer in office? And then will he pay the proposed 5% tax on billionaires?
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL. So many ways to listen to News Talk STL.
Join the conversation. All you have to do is say,
Hey Alexa, play News Talk STL.
Welcome to News Talk STL, conservative talk radio for St. Louis.
The Allman Report, sponsored by Window World, 800 Get Windows.
Step one, you say we need to talk. He walks, you say sit down, it's just talk. He smiles politely back at you. You stare politely right on through.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Fancy Friday to all of you and yours. I hope you get a chance over the weekend to listen to More Money. Stephen Moore, not only a great economist, but a pretty darn good radio host, I'll tell you that. Stephen Moore, More Money, and also, of course, sending you the Unleash Prosperity Hotline newsletter every single morning, and it's absolutely for free. All you have to do is sign up for it. Stephen Moore, welcome to the program. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Jamie, I'm doing well. Thank you very much. And, boy, what a day it has been on the market. And, it looks like the Strait of Hormuz is now open, which is fantastic news. We've waited for that for so long. Very exciting. And the market's way, way up today. We're almost back at Dow 50,000, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So almost all the losses have been regained. I hope this is real. I hope that we get, we really do get that strait open and that the ships can go through. And if that happens, we're going to have a return to prosperity. It's going to be a big blowout for the economy.
Yeah. And, I was also thinking, too, with the way President Trump played this with Iran and now all these tankers coming to the U.S. for filler up with oil, it looks like we're going to be a very dominant exporter into the future of oil here, maybe if not the number one.
Well, that's right. We are the biggest producer of oil right now, and so we could see big gains for American businesses. We want to be able to be not reliant on the Middle Eastern oil any longer. So we don't have to, as long as I've been alive, since the 70s, every 5 or 10 years, there's some flare up in the Middle East, and then it causes havoc in the U.S. economy. We got to get past that.
Yeah. And what do you think becomes of the strait? Because what happened is during the blockade, a lot of these countries just rerouted and chose a different way of picking up their oil. So that was an interesting development too.
Well, I'm not an expert on that, what other routes they have. I mean, obviously the strait is much, much more convenient for everyone to use to get the oil to the markets. By the way, the two countries that use that import the most oil from the Strait of Hormuz are China and India. And by the way, shame on the Europeans. They didn't help one iota in terms of getting these straits reopened. So people should be angry, as Trump is, about the fact that our supposed allies and friends didn't lift a finger to help us, which is disgraceful, really. So, but look, I'm feeling very bullish today. Investors around the country and the world are feeling bullish in the U.S. economy. And we're going to see a return to big prosperity, and that's great, great, great news.
Yeah, I think that's great, and I think the markets are – I know it's so interesting to watch the reaction of the markets, and you hate to say it, but, a lot of people in the media seem to be wishing for these downturns and all that kind of stuff, and so what happens if the market dips, it's widely reported. If it goes crazy, it's widely ignored, so it's kind of interesting to watch that.
That is. And I mean, and look, there's a hate Trump element. There's no question about it. And these are people who what's the old saying? They hate Trump more than they love America. And that's a sad situation, but it's the reality of today. And most Americans, they just want they want a bigger paycheck. They want more take-home pay. And by the way, this was April 15 week, and people got big deductions for if you got overtime, if you've got tips and all of that. People did very well. So this is an agenda that's working for working class Americans, and I think you're going to see. I know consumer confidence has been way down, but I think it's going to rise like a rocket ship when people see the jobs coming back and the prices falling.
Yeah, and hopefully, like here in Missouri, we are trending towards the demise of the income tax, the state income tax. That's going to possibly be on the ballot.
Sorry. I agree with that. And I think that if Missouri could become the 10th state not to have an income tax, that would be incredible. I mean, this would be like rocket fuel in the U.S. economy and the Missouri economy. By the way, there used to be 9 states that had no income tax, but stupidly, Washington State, for the first time ever, has adopted an income tax. So wouldn't it be wonderful if Missouri replaced Washington State as no income tax state? This would be enormous. It would be like a big flashing bulletin board around the country saying, we're open for business in Missouri.
Yeah, and the next stop around the country would be the property tax revolts, and I think we're going to see some of that too. And who knows, life for our children could be sunny and bright as we head into the next decade or so. So that'll be great.
Oh, this is a businessman.
Yeah.
You know, he's the first businessman we've had in a long time running the White House, and he knows what he's doing. He knows how to create jobs. He knows how to create profits and make things work. And that's very different from someone like Joe Biden, who spent his whole year. I don't think he ever actually even had a job. So that's pretty amazing when you think about it. What a turnaround this is. But the bottom line here, great day to lead off the weekend. People are feeling really good about things, and I am too. I got a big smile on my face.
Well, Stephen Moore, thank you so much. Appreciate your newsletter every morning, Unleash Prosperity Hotline newsletter. You all can subscribe to that. It's really super easy to get, totally free. And, of course, Stephen Moore, more money here on News Talk STL over the weekends, variety of times there, newstalkstl.com. And just real quickly, Stephen, it sounds, I want to let you know I'm very grateful, and we all are, for you taking the time out. It sounds like you're walking down Fifth Avenue,
I'm in the airport. I'm ready to take off. I'm headed out west, but
okay.
Always happy to slip in time for you and your show, and then be sure to folks to listen to More Money, which is on your station there,
right
in
on.
St. Louis.
Yes, sir, we do. It's a great show. So thank you, Stephen Moore, and safe travels to you. And we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right, that's Stephen Moore. So far we've talked to 2 people at airports. So far, that's telling us something, Ashton. We need to get out of here. Is that what we need to do? All right. This is interesting. Boy, everybody, I don't know. Have you ever been to a website called Mediaite? It's one of those sites that covers, a lot of politics and everything else, but it kind of masks itself as like, well, we call balls and strikes and we're just kind of fair-minded. It's kind of like Politico. Remember when Politico, some people were deceived into thinking that Politico was just right down central and fair and balanced and everything else. And, of course, it turns out it wasn't. Mediaite is like this, too. So everybody's become experts, by the way, not only in the Bible, and you'll hear from the hyena from The Lion King later on because she has something to say about the Bible, but they're also grammatical experts. So here's what happened here. President Trump was giving a speech, the no tax on tips speech, and he was reading the speech, and it went like this.
Beautiful bill also slashed taxes on millions of American small businesses, including restaurants, dry cleaners, corner stores. What is a corner store? I've never heard that term. I know what a corner store is, but I've never heard it described, a corner store. Who the hell wrote that? Please?
Yeah, who did write that? So oddly enough, here's what it normally would be, and what you would say is the corner store. Nobody says corner stores. Nobody says corner stores. So what does Mediaite do? They sit here and make fun of President Trump because he doesn't know what a corner store is. It's like, okay, first of all, that's not how you do it. When you talk about unleashing prosperity and he makes that list, the corner store is how we normally describe, or the family business or whatever. That's how we normally describe things. Whoever wrote that for him is an idiot. And corner stores, nobody talks like that. So the news media decides that they're going to make fun of him and haze him because why not? Because President Trump, in their opinion, is such a rube. He's such an idiot. He's so unclean. He's so unholy. He's all this other nonsense. And man, I chose this because of anybody, if I were listening to that speech and I heard it as corner stores, I'd be like, what is that? And President Trump, this speaks to his normalness, because all of us would feel exactly the exact same way. So there you go. Hey, leave him alone, for crying out loud.
Y'all gonna hear from the hyena from the Lion King, 'cause she got something to say. So for all the ladies of The View had something to say, but the hyena hasn't spoken yet.
And you'll hear from her straight ahead. It's Common Sense Radio.
Follow us on Rumble at News Talk STL. This is 101.9 and 94.1.
Female millennial Trump supporter. I listen to it like every day. Like, seriously, you get it.
News Talk STL.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
Hello, St. Louis. This is Everett Jones of Jones Air and Water Treatment. I know you're ready for some summer weather. While we still have the spring to get through, this is a great time to think about your swimming pools. That's right, now is a great time to save on EcoSmart salt-free, chlorine-free, acid-free pool products. Call now and get 50% off glass-packed media and 15% off all other EcoSmart products. Call now at 636-899-1040, now through the end of April.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
Your business moves fast. PRI Global keeps it moving smarter for almost 30 years, delivering top tech talent to help companies grow stronger, custom applications, simplifying your operations, securing your data, modernizing your business from the cloud up. And with Prismatic, you're going to get real-time insights, automated workflows, people, process, platform. PRI Global delivers all three. PRIglobal.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The House voted on the extension of FISA. We'll ask Congressman Bob Onder how that vote went at 4:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. The Allman Report, sponsored by Schneider's True Value.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Fancy Friday to all of you and yours. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch, the Allman Report, and guess who we have now in the studio, ladies and gentlemen? Elizabeth Kayser. She is the host of Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kayser right here on Sundays on News Talk STL. 8 o'clock is where she is. It's a great show. Encourage you to listen, and you can also download the past shows on the News Talk STL website. So, Elizabeth Kayser, welcome to the show. Happy Friday to you. How
Thank
you doing?
you, Jamie.
So,
Happy Friday to you.
You've been monitoring this situation with the Festus Data Center, and I did have Bob Clark on earlier this week. I think it was Monday, because he's obviously heavily invested in a lot of these data centers. But you were also mentioning that the one in Festus is now making national news, correct?
Yeah, it really is. I think we've got a lot of national media right now taking a look at Festus, and a lot of people are looking at Festus kind of as a bellwether and kind of a case of first impression. And I think a lot of people are impressed at what's happening because there is a there's an organic grassroots effort to trying to stop the data center. And then you've got also this very solid environmental lawyer that just filed a petition to stop the data center as well. And, 6 months ago, I don't think any of this was anticipated. So it's become a hot mess, as they say. It's extremely adversarial. And you do have a lot of national news actually taking a look at this. So it's really surprising. Right now, everything is deadlocked. You've got the 4 incumbents that voted for the data center. They all got ousted just a few nights ago.
Yeah.
And then, right after they got ousted, that's when this environmental lawyer, I think his name is Stephen Jeffrey is what his name is. He filed his petition the very next day to stop the data center. And then we've got these recall petitions. And I didn't get to hear your show with Bob Clark, and I know he's the developer of CRG parent company.
I had said, especially when the Festus Council people were ousted, and one of them did vote no, but somebody made the case that he had voted yes on plenty of different occasions that got it to this point anyway, so that person did not escape the wrath of voters. And, I tried to explain to people, I said, this isn't because these people are all a bunch of pitchfork mobs. These are individuals who have some real concerns about what's going on. And I said the worst part, it seems, is that these things come out of nowhere. They are always a surprise to people, it seems. And so it would help not only developers but also politicians to be more transparent about what's going on. Walk people through it. Tell us what this is. Tell us how big it's going to be. Tell us all this stuff instead of springing it on us because nobody likes surprises.
You're so right, Jamie. And a lot of this energy, that it kind of lies in wait. So it's like asymptomatic. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what's brewing. You don't know what's percolating. And people don't like to be left in the dark. And I think this case, really segues beautifully into something that I'm working on with my roundtable to provide a hyperscale framework so that we can actually give this framework. We're still working on it fervently. I've got AI developers working on it, and one is from Silicon Valley. I talk to him every single day. He actually co-presented with me downtown just a couple days ago. But it goes to the heart of the matter. The lack of transparency, people, they don't want to be sprung on, especially something that's $6 billion, then another $10 billion. I mean, that's a big deal. And so this framework is supposed to provide a transparency. It's rooted in social trust. It's rooted in transparency. It's rooted in compliance with the sunshine laws, with public disclosures, to doing these things right. And the way it starts is that any community in Missouri will soon have access to, hey, Amazon, you want to build a data center? Here you go. Here's a 15-page RFP, request for proposal. Let's start here. Make it very solid, best business practice, the highest integrity. They fill out the RFP, they meaning the developer, the Amazon, the Google, the Meta, whoever it is. They fill that out. And then they return it, and then we give them the framework where they dump all of the relevant data into, which gets to be very complex, and to make sure everything is done right. In addition to that, you've got disclosure laws, you've got public meetings, and that I think is what resulted in this lying in wait, and all of a sudden it just was a flashpoint.
Yeah,
and it happened overnight.
Well, a lot of people also knew that when Festus had that one hearing, the decision almost had already been made. So people were arriving at the hearing thinking that they were going to have some kind of impact on the future of this data center.
Correct.
When the decisions had already been made before they even got to the hearing.
Right. And that sentiment was reflected when the 4 councilmen got ousted.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really interesting. And, in defense of all the dynamics and all the parties involved, if you look at it at a very high level, we're really in uncharted waters. And anytime you get in uncharted waters, your first transactions are going to be beta. There's going to be a lot of learning, and there's going to be a lot of things that are done wrong and a lot of things that are done right, probably more wrong than right, because it is uncharted water. So, these people like Jefferson County and Festus and the councilmen, they didn't have this beautiful guidebook to go by. They didn't have a beautiful manual to go by. This isn't like, hey, been there, done that. My God, we're on our 1,000th project. They're like on the first project they've ever been. And think about it. You've got a community, hypothetically, let's just say 50,000 people, or you could say 10,000 people in a community, and they get approached by, a tech company, like a tech god, like Amazon. And it's like, what do you do? It's so difficult to struggle to figure out, okay, what is the relevant data? Where do we start? Where's the guideline? What's the document?
That's a really good point, because a lot of these people, I don't think they mean to be bad people, or they mean to hurt communities, or they don't care about communities, whatever. But it is a learning process. You got to make sure that the community is not being briefed on Facebook, not being briefed by Facebook friends, and instead by real hardcore information. Like, for instance, in St. Charles County, they had that one, and it turned out that some relative of some elected official was involved in the data center. And it's like, oh, I forgot to tell you. And everybody's like, you got to be kidding me. So those kinds of missteps are avoidable and should be avoided.
And that's exactly what we're trying to also solve, that problem, that lack of transparency, and to do it right.
Yeah.
And this is a living software platform that we are developing as a roundtable. And when I say living, and I mean it's living, we are actually cutting our teeth on what's happening in Festus, in all honesty. And we're taking all the data and what's happening in Festus and feeding it into our AI program. And that is going to make a better, more solid document with a higher integrity, to make sure that all the checkpoints are followed for the next community that is, approached by another tech company that wants to build one of these data centers.
Yeah.
And then you've got all this pending AI regulation. What's interesting, I just found out too, is as a lawyer, I'm very involved in the AI regulation bills. There's been a number of bills that are going through the Missouri legislature right now. But some of these lawmakers, the senators and the reps that are sponsoring these bills, they're now starting to get letters from D.C. It just happened, in fact, yesterday. So it's fresh off the press. D.C. stating this could run afoul of our federal framework, of our national solid, centralized AI framework, AI regulation framework. And we're going to begin a reconciliation, if you will, an audit, if you will, to see if your proposed bill is too harsh, too draconian. Does it run afoul of this federal framework that we're trying to push through Congress? So there's a lot of tension and a lot of conflict in all levels.
And I want to get to that AI thing that happened downtown where you spoke, which is great, because there are a lot of concerns about it, especially as people are starting to lose their jobs and everything else. But real quickly on the Festus project, the data center, do you know much about the content of that claim regarding the environmental claims that the lawyer's making about the data center? What's the concern there?
Well, his two allegations are a violation of the Missouri Sunshine Act, and his other allegation is wrongful zoning. And you've already alluded to this, but insufficient time to actually duly consider in due process the actual proposal. Because like you said, the decision had already been made. It was kind of form over substance, pomp and circumstance when they had that city meeting.
Yes, yeah.
And so he is looking at malfeasance, failure of duty to perform, and also the meeting that they had when they call it spot zoning. He wants to undo the actual zoning that happened, my gosh, I think it was over a year ago.
Yeah.
So he's also, it's interesting because he's also apparently going to be filing other lawsuits based on Pacific, based on Franklin County, other data centers that are proposed to be developed. And he's, I've not spoke with him, but I know he seems to be a very solid environmental attorney.
Yeah,
very
right.
solid, very experienced.
Yeah, the Sunshine Law thing is a real problem, and that's going to whack any politician who violates it. So
there's this recall, Jamie, I'm going to mention, and I think this is very interesting. So you've got what you just mentioned, the petition. So that's going to go through the courts. It's been filed the day after the 4 councilmen were ousted. But then you've also got these recall petitions. To my knowledge, they've not been filed yet. But the word is, and it's pretty, it's substantiated that they have been able to get 25% signatures, which a lot of people were very surprised at, that these recall petitions to recall the mayor and to recall the councilman that voted for the data center, in order to reach that legal threshold, they have to get 25% of all the registered voters in that area. And word has it, and it's pretty substantial, and I think it is true. They have reached that 25% threshold, which has been a surprise. Now, they have to file it within 60 days of the first signature collected. So technically, they're legally, they have until, I believe it's late May to file their petition, but they're supposed to file like within the next week because they've already got the signatures.
Yeah.
And they want to continue the force on the mayor, on the recall of the mayor. And so everything, you've got the grassroots recall petitions for the councilman and the recall of the mayor, in addition to the litigation in the courts filed by attorney Stephen Jeffrey.
Yeah.
And all of those are converging. And then in addition to that, what is the data center doing? Well, what their next step is now is they're arranging a meeting with the Port Authority so they can start negotiating the agreement under Section 68.
Yeah.
That hasn't even been done yet, plus the environmental study. So it's very complex.
Well, now we know why Bob Clark and CRG had a news conference. Because it was, maybe should have happened about 6 months ago. Bob's a friend of mine. I would have advised him to do that. But I'm glad they're finally trying to get out in front of it a little bit.
Well, and he's going to have to file his response, so we're all kind of waiting to see what his response is, because he hasn't filed his answer yet. I think he's got plenty of time. But
yeah, right.
The news conference kind of replaced the answer for now, I think, just to appease the public. So
yeah.
It's very interesting. I'm fascinated by all of it.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, we've got about 4 minutes left, so I want to make sure I get to your AI starlet status, because that's kind of what you're doing.
I'm not a starlet. Oh, my goodness.
Well, what I'm saying is you're
Jamie.
kind of our resident AI expert. You've been talking about this for a long time, even before the chickens came home to roost and the formulation of job replacements, all this kind of stuff. I mean, a year ago, you were talking about how important this was, if not maybe even more than that. And now people are starting to see some of the roll-off. You were speaking at a downtown AI conference, correct?
I was just a couple of days ago at the AI Summit at STL Tech Week.
STL Tech Week. Okay,
yes.
So what exactly were you saying? Like, what do you think are where we are at right now regarding AI?
Oh, well, our topic of discussion, and I actually remoted in one of the members on my roundtable in from Silicon Valley. So he remoted in. I was the only presenter that remoted in, a co-presenter, and we had some tech problems, but we were able to start off, and it was a really good event and a great turnout. And we talked about the pending regulations. We talked about the AI regulations, which are now being questioned by Washington, D.C., which is really, really interesting, by federal. And then we went into this framework and how important it is for, as you've already mentioned, transparency, disclosure. It's all about social trust.
Yeah.
It's all about social trust. And, 99% of that can be mitigated and prevented if it's just done right. So we talked about this guideline that we're putting together, and we're hoping that we can even get the state to actually sanction it, to endorse it, and to use it for the state of Missouri so that things are done right. And we can prevent what you're seeing in Vestas with all these petitions and adversarial hostility going on, that we can prevent all of that.
Yeah, I was talking to a person. I was in Cabo, and there was somebody from St. Louis there. And her daughter goes to school with my daughter, and she was talking about, she's opening a business, right? She just bought a business, and she had AI do all of the paperwork on the business, all the legal paperwork, everything else. Her dad's a lawyer. He looks at the contract, so it's a business contract.
And he's shocked about it.
And he's like, did you hire a lawyer for this? It's like, no, this is all AI.
Yes.
Claude.
And Claude just came out with their new Opus version, which is even better than the prior version. I was just going to say that. And so the quality of the products that you were just referring to are improving hour by hour, day by day. It's accelerating. And of course, there's going to be workforce displacement. How can there not be? I mean, how can there not be? And it's really interesting because the legal environment is really getting impacted, and not so much the lawyers, but the staff, the paralegals and the litigation assistants that are very document driven.
And marketing is going to be taken over by AI.
Absolutely. And one thing that I went over too, you were asking about my presentation. I know we got to wrap it up because we're running out of time, but one of the things is that we talked about what happened with Dario a day. Some people say Amato, but it's a day. And he owns Anthropic, and we had that big, platform that came out, and it caused all sorts of a huge fear factor. And now he's judiciously released that platform to 14 tech companies to hurry up and patch up their 0-day vulnerability in their operating systems. And that's just a glimpse. That's just a little watershed of what we're going to see in the next year or two. And
and my son works for HubStop and he's in San Diego, although he works remotely. And they're the ones who will sell these plans for people to communicate with a website when they call in or whatever, bot, so to speak.
Right.
So what they did was they just embraced AI. They're just embracing it.
HubSpot should embrace it.
As opposed to being replaced by it.
They've been around for a while, and they're very sophisticated. I could understand they would embrace it.
Yeah, doing a great job. Anyway, Elizabeth Kayser, we'll be listening this Sunday at 8 o'clock, Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kayser. It's a great show, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for the info.
Thank you, Jamie.
Good to see you again.
Thank you, Jamie.
Right.
Happy Friday, everybody.
All right, happy Friday, folks.
All right, take care.
Doug Giles, has he been black-pilled? He's going to be straight ahead.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs. It's a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. Speaking at the Singapore World Economy Summit, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says there's good news in the Iran war.
Straits of Hormuz were just announced an hour ago that they're open. And ships are moving. So the price of oil dropped 10% this morning.
And U.S. stocks moving sharply higher. More on the Israel-Hezbollah truce. The BBC's Hugo Bashega is in Beirut.
Hezbollah is indicating that it will abide by the ceasefire. Obviously, its supporters have been suffering because of this war. But at the end of the day, Hezbollah is keeping its weapons. Invading Israeli troops remain inside Lebanese territory. And Israel, according to the deal, may even continue to attack Lebanon. So this gives you an idea of how difficult the situation is. The Lebanese are exhausted, desperate for some respite, but this may be a pause and not the end of the conflict here.
Cameras in the courtroom have long exposed the inner workings of some of America's most spectacular criminal cases. Now calls to bar cameras from Tyler Robinson's trial in the killing of Charlie Kirk, reigniting debate over whether they belong.
Robinson's attorneys want cameras banned from a Utah courtroom, pointing to sometimes sensationalist media coverage they fear will foster widespread bias against their client as he faces prosecution in last September's shooting death of the conservative activist on a college campus. Prosecutors want cameras allowed and suggested that they could help dispel conspiracy theories and, quote, distorted narratives swirling around the case since Kirk was shot while speaking to a crowd of thousands. Bernie Bennett reporting.
And on Wall Street, the Dow had 953 points. The NASDAQ up 350. More on these stories from townhall.com.
You're not just overweight, you're in survival mode. No pill or crash diet's going to fix that.
They don't address why your body is storing fat. At PhD Weight Loss, they treat unwanted weight as a symptom, a signal that your metabolism, hormones, and stress response need attention. Fix that, and the weight comes off naturally. Call PhD Weight Loss, mention Mike G, you'll get 2 weeks free, and they'll pay for your food. Call 864-644-1900, 864-644-1900, mention Mike G, or go to myphdweightloss.com.
Americans have a big healthcare problem. Over 100 million citizens carry medical debt while paying for overpriced and complicated health insurance. As Christians, we don't have to pay for a broken system. Christian Healthcare Ministries is an alternative to health insurance at half the cost. Plus, you can enroll at any time. Stand up to health insurance with a biblical solution. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Breezy and warm this afternoon with increasing cloudiness and dry throughout the day. The high temperature into the mid-80s. And then the rain moves in this evening and overnight tonight from the west. And these will be thunderstorms, and some of them could produce heavy rain or possibly some severe weather with destructive winds and isolated tornadoes. Again, that's overnight tonight. The rain ends early tomorrow. It turns much cooler, low 60s for highs, sunny and upper 60s on Sunday. In the First Alert Weather Center, I'm KMOV meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Dozens of out-of-state law firms are crashing into St. Louis trying to get your business. My advice, rely on a hometown firm. Under Law has been here for years. There are lawyers raising their families right alongside yours. And when you're injured by someone's careless actions, you are entitled to full compensation. You want lawyers who will not bend to big insurance, but will stand defiantly protecting you. Under Law, O-N-D-E-R, underlaw.com. Under wins.
Hey, when pests invade your home, you need someone you can trust. It's Jamie Allman here, and at Buckingham Pest Control, they're not just your exterminators. They're your neighbors and friends. A locally owned family business and St. Louis Magazine A-List award winner, providing affordable, quality pest control. Plus, they offer energy-efficient TAP attic insulation, the only insulation that controls pests. BuckinghamPestControl.com. That's BuckinghamPestControl.com.
This year, America turns 250, and News Talk STL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. News Talk STL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. Gulf Shores Restaurant, Pacific Animal Hospital, and Williams Brothers Meats. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at BluffCityOutdoors.com.
Ever feel like just a number in a waiting room? Hi, I'm Shannon Tribune, Director of Operations with Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Navigating the medical system can be a maze of stress. I'm your personal guide at Body of Health. I handle the messy parts of medical care, the logistics and complex coordination, both in and outside our walls, so you and Dr. Tobler, that's my dad, can focus on what matters most, your health. At Body of Health, you're not just a patient, you're part of the family, because that's healthcare the way it ought to be. To learn more, schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Fancy Friday to all of you and yours. It's Common Sense Radio. It's the 3 Martini Lunch, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Bob Peterson wants to know if the Bush Family Brewing operation is going to be open for the season. It is not. Billy, it's my understanding he has it up for sale, so I enjoyed helping him out a couple years ago, but did not have any more time. So I love seeing a lot of you out there, but I looks like it's not going to be open for a while unless someone buys it and turns it over and opens the door and gets the brewers all back in order and everything else. All right, so we basically heard from everybody about Jesus this week, didn't we? I mean, everybody had something to say about Jesus and religion, but I think at this tail end of the week, it's time to hear from one person we haven't heard from about Jesus or the Bible yet, and that is the hyena from the Lion King.
But Jesus said, blessed are the peacemakers. Or you could look at John 14, where he said, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. Or Luke 6, when Jesus said, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you, pray for those who mistreat you.
I just love these people who've suddenly found God in the Bible. And I know Whoopi would. I know. She played a nun, too, right? Aside from playing the hyena. So that gives her that expertise. I'm sure Doug Giles, a little bit of a biblical expert, I might say, enjoyed hearing Whoopi Goldberg lecture us all on Jesus' teachings. How you doing, Doug?
Yeah, I don't know if I would take any kind of biblical advice from Whoopi. She probably knows a lot about cream gravy and greasy food, but Jesus, no, I'll pass.
Yeah, I noticed the Pope. They had a quote from him in Cameroon, and he was talking about how individuals who use religion in their warriorship are not good. And if I didn't know any better, I thought he'd be talking about Islamic jihadists, but we all know who he was really talking about. So that was in Africa. He was talking to people who were getting basically macheted by Islamic jihadists on a regular basis, but who's counting? Certainly not the Pope.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if you look at what Israel's done in Gaza and what they're currently doing, I guess, I haven't heard any kind of news really, been offline all morning in southern Lebanon. It looks like slaughtering innocent people, civilians, what's going on in Iran and blowing up, bridges and schools with little girls. It seems like that's in vogue right now. And I heard Sean Hannity the other night as he was rebuking the Pope, asking him if he ever read the Bible and how there's so much killing in the Old Testament and God was cool with it. And then Sean kind of patted himself on the back and, acted like, he schooled the Pope, he churched the church and let everybody bask in his biblical knowledge. But the only problem with that is that, it did happen in the Old Testament. You don't see Jesus green lighting death and killing, civilians. I mean, it's just ridiculous. But if Israel does it, it's fine. If Islam does it, it's not fine. And,
what's interesting though, Doug, is I'm not a huge fan of Hannity anyway. But I think the issue sometimes is with, as it has been with the Catholic Church, or for that matter, a lot of churches. I'm not just picking on the Catholic Church, but seems to be a selective outrage. Like there seems to be even if you go back to World War II when the Catholic Church kind of sat on the sidelines as Jews were being slaughtered. It's kind of like you're getting this point where okay, I get it, I get what the Pope is saying, but how come it's directed only towards President Trump and never directed towards anybody else? I think that's the issue that people have, is this kind of selective admonition coming from religious leaders like the Pope and others.
Yeah, because Trump's an easy target, and he's the one that terrifies them more than any other world leader. So he's going to draw their ire, and plus, Trump goes after them, and so it's he makes himself an easy target. Why do they do it? Again, because he is the threat. I don't see any other world leaders aside from like Netanyahu that really disparage the Pope like Trump and Bibi does.
I was thinking about you because I know when President Trump sent J.D. Vance over to Pakistan to negotiate with the Iranians, and it's interesting because that was where I learned that J.D. Vance really was not, and President Trump even mentioned it, was not a fan of the Iran approach, was not a fan of the conflict, and is probably one of the more dovish members, and I mean dovish as in not a critical thing. I'm just, that's hawks and doves, as the more dovish member of the president's team. What do you think about him as we even look towards 2028? Do people, like for instance, among your viewpoint group or what have you, seem to gravitate towards him and his approach, or how do you feel about him?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't have a group.
Well, I mean,
it's just
yeah.
me sitting out here in the woods.
Okay,
man,
I got you.
Deep Texas. Yeah, I dug JD until he didn't push, at least to my knowledge. I'm sure he did it behind closed doors, but I mean, this is everything, that Trump and JD by extension, in regards to no foreign wars, this is everything that he sold us, man. And Jamie, I'm just sick of politicians, and I know it sounds, like I used to be a naive Pollyanna dancing around some maypole with rose-colored glasses on, but I really thought that, given Trump's first administration in 2016, his election, that he pretty damn much did what he promised he's going to do. And but what, with 2024 into our current day, he's doing the exact opposite of what he said he's going to do. And JD was right there with him. And I saw a speech in the end of 2024 where JD was blasting foreign wars and foreign involvements, in particular in the Middle East, blasting it. And that's when I'm, sitting back here eating popcorn, finishing off my third martini for lunch on Freaky Friday.
Yeah.
And I'm screaming, yeah, man, go JD, go JD. And then at night we'd watch Hillbilly Elegy. So I was a fan. But, man, you BS me anymore, not you in particular, but politicians, and I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, I'm not going to sit there and build the wall, Trump. Is the wall built? He said he's going to build it. I know the immigration has, the flood's been, the tide has been stemmed rather, but where's the wall? Build that, man. Do other stuff, affordable housing. That's a thing that people are definitely concerned about. And but again, no, Bibi wants us over there killing Iranians, so we're going to do it. Who knows why?
So, Doug, speaking of eating popcorn, how were you? I've been dying to hear what you had to say about this whole Swalwell thing, because right now, this is so crazy. I sometimes I love reading X because people are funny on it and everything else, and then sometimes it just boils my blood. So there's one chick out there from one of the news organizations who said, she knew about this a long time ago, but it wasn't on her beat. So she gave it to her editors, and they didn't do anything with it. And now suddenly she's blaming Fox News for not reporting on Swalwell and investigating Swalwell. So all these media outlets who basically just let him slide this entire time because he was a useful idiot for them are now turning around and saying, oh, you conservatives should have gone after him. I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me.
Yeah, again, the Swalwell saga, didn't end with Fang Fang. It's been systemic. And, bro, I hate to sound like a freaking broken record, Jamie, but I'm done with politicians. And it's not just the Eric Swalwells on the left. Oh, no. No, they're all over the right. They're in TPUSA. I mean, we're talking tawdry, gross, nasty garbage. And it's like, oh, they're going to be the saviors of our culture. No, they're not. God is an equal opportunity offender. And if you're practicing this kind of garbage, it's going to come out, you know.
And
there's a scripture in Numbers 32 where Moses tells the children of Israel, be sure your sin will find you out.
Yeah.
And so people think, I'm going to get away with it. Not in this day and age, you know. It's just a matter of time. And that's where true Christianity, true pastors, true priests, man, we need to be the Elijahs to the Jezebels and to the Ahabs. But instead, you've got pastors. I mean, look at Trump's religious advisory crew. Nut jobs. Absolute nut job. Paula White, nut job. Just go on X. Search Paula White, and you'll see her screaming in tongues and telling people to give $100,000 of her cash or Jesus isn't going to bless them.
Yeah.
Full on nut bags. And here's what they won't do. They won't speak to Trump hard truth. They won't be prophetic. And you look at, if Hannity wants to do a search of the Old Testament again, look at the relationship between the prophet and the king. Every king, they had a prophet. And that prophet was a massive check and balance. And that king usually, if he was shrewd, they trembled before the prophets. Now our little pastors and priests, they tremble before Trump. Trump needs to tremble before them, you know.
Anna Paulina Luna suggests that there's likely a couple of Republicans who are kind of along the Swalwell line. And I think there's going to be some news coming out of that over the next couple of days because she's kind of on top of this.
There is something that is so it's so massive, and yeah.
Well, I remember going to the Stop the Steal rallies, and it turned out there were a couple of these people who were in the organization part of it who were really sleazeballs. This one guy was like grooming boys and all this stuff. So, it's everywhere, it's crazy.
Yeah. And again, these are the politicians that, are going to save the day. And it's like, no, they're not. It's up to you. It's up to your family. And it's not up to some man or some stupid woman. There's been two prominent Texas politicians that everybody got on their bandwagon. And they're like, Doug cheerlead for him. It's like, I'm not going to do it. Why? Because he's a serial adulterer, and I know his wife, and he's married, and he's a freaking liar. That's why. But you can throw around Jesus' name. You can throw around Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence. And at the end of the day, you're a piece of crap. You're a lying sack of you-know-what. You can't keep your vows to your wife. You're not going to keep your vows to your constituency. These guys are narcissists, and it's just out of control, covering over pedophilia. Should I go on? Taking bribes. I mean, and in this one in particular, it's like I'm going to stop child sex trafficking. You rolled over, he did, and hid pedophilia from a big donor for money. Yeah.
Crazy.
So, yeah. And again, I know I sound hot and I'm jaded, but I'm just done with them, man.
Yeah.
If we're looking for answers in the political realm alone, you're going to be so disappointed in life.
Yeah, not the place to look. All right, brother. Well, listen, I hope you have a great weekend and a fancy continued Friday. And
I'll try to be positive next.
That's all right, man. DougGiles.org is where we're going to find everything else. You still got your books rolling off the shelves and everything else. So we got it all together, man.
All right, brother.
All right, buddy.
Rowdy.
That is the great Doug Giles, and I'm glad that's over. I wanted to, at one point, like stick my head in an oven. And I'd say that to his face, too, you know. It's just the way it is. You know how sometimes, well, I don't like talking on the phone anyway, but sometimes like you people talk on the phone to you and you're like, you can't wait to like, okay, all right, okay. Yep, okay, 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 bye-bye, bye, bye. Oh, Mom Donnie is hitting out of the park there in New York City. It's Common Sense Radio. It's a Fancy Friday. Rick Pogue is on the way. I don't know where he's on the way to, but he's always in that big-ass truck running around somewhere. So we're going to track him down and get him on the show.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. I have to tell you, Diana, who is just an amazing leader there at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry, and you've got Anna, and you've got Cindy, and you've got Teresa, and you've got a really amazing place to go for Mother's Day, because you need to start planning for that. Mother's Day is the 9th of May or May 11th, whatever, but you know it's coming around. And so here's the deal. They have a wish list. So if you are the mom in someone's life and you know somebody's going to get you something, go to Newsteaders Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. And then what you'll do is you'll kind of shop around, look around, have Diana help you. Maybe she'll show you some of the stacker rings, which are really cool. These beautiful, small, thin rings with beautiful gemstones in them that you can mix and match. Those are kind of all the rage these days. And they have the gold, and they have these beautiful brooches. Brooches are back in style now. It used to be kind of like a 40s thing, right? But there's some really cool brooches available for you at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. And, of course, guys, they have a layaway program for the mother in your life who you want to give something beautiful to. You can go ahead and put it on the layaway program, and it'll be really super easy for you. Of course, they're open today. Of course, they're open on the weekend, and you just walk in there. It's bright. It's sunny. You have the smiling faces of real jewelers, by the way. A lot of people in the jewelry business are salespeople. These are real jewelers. They know exactly what to do, and they have great advice for you. And, of course, we call it wowdiamonds.com for a reason. Talking about perhaps not going past Mother's Day, we're looking for engagement season or weddings or that kind of thing. You're going to love their beautiful wedding sets, the diamonds that are lab-grown diamonds as well as mined diamonds. You have your choice. Either way, they're beautiful, priced just right, and you're going to get that expertise from the jewelers at Newsteaders Fine Jewelry. WowDiamonds.com. That's WowDiamonds.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Dr. Bob Onder, Congressman for Missouri's 3rd District.
This spacecraft will be descending at 9,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
And the friction with the air will hit 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. No, thank you. Hey, I'm claustrophobic. I don't even like to get in a scanner at the airport, much less this little space capsule for 9 days.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever and anytime at home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime,
Everywhere.
anywhere.
The Allman Report, sponsored by Grasser Home Services.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Allman Report. 3 martini lunch and a fancy Friday here. Jared is saying hello from Nashville. Love Nashville. Steve, hi. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy. Phil Powers down there in Pensacola. Allison, who earlier was typing, I wonder if Doug's in a better mood today. Oh. You guys, I don't know. I mean, listen, I know about like criticism, and we're not all lemmings, you know. I mean, I get it, but sometimes it's just like, it's just a lot, you know. And I'm, you know, even when I'm mad, I'm generally a happy person, but you know. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm just thinking, are you all feeling the way I'm feeling? Anyway, I would tell Doug the same thing. I did last week too, offline. So I'm not hiding anything. Hey, Swalwell, by the way, and I kind of feel bad about this because, you know, at one point you're thinking, man, I'm thinking about the kids, and then his wife, and then it turns out, though, if you guys remember, Swalwell had this racket going. I mean, this guy was an absolute criminal, but his wife wasn't really far behind him. You do realize what they were doing with their campaign funds. He was literally paying his wife to take care of their children. For babysitting costs and everything else. And it's a total violation, total ethics violation, if you're not using your you know, when you talk about you need somebody to watch the kids. That's for when you're going canvassing or you've got some kind of fundraising event or whatever, but not every day. So, you know, his wife was a little bit, you know, on the racket that he was pushing for a long time with the expenditures on the campaign fund expenditures and the babysitting and all this other stuff. I mean, my goodness gracious, the way he got away with pretty much everything only because he was a fervent Trump critic or whatever. And then it turns out, you know, even with this whole Fang thing, this guy was sleazy from the very, very beginning. And no one called him out on it. Nobody in the news media or anything for that matter. And it especially with the kinds of, you know, things that he was getting away with, his activities became progressively more violent and worse. I mean, you guys saw the videotape of him on the bed with that so-called sex worker? And as I told you before, they were talking about how, yeah, they were making out. It's like, that's not making out when you basically grab somebody's head and force them to kiss you. That's not what I know as making out. But man, his hatred of women is just obviously beyond the pale. And this guy got away with so much. Nancy Pelosi lied when she said that his decision to resign was solely his own, because she even said earlier, like the day before, that she called him. So, you know, this is whatever's going on here. It's impossible to believe that this was all there in plain sight. And the other thing with his colleagues and things like that, the only thing I could possibly deduce from all of this is that they figure if they draw attention to what he's doing, people will draw attention to what they're doing. And again, this isn't just, infidelity. These are things that are, because these are things that people, where it's rape. It's like drugging women, putting drugs in their drinks and attacking them while they're unconscious in a hotel room. I mean, and that's why I think ultimately what needs to happen is this needs to be, and it's funny how I haven't heard too many politicians saying, well, maybe now this is the time that we release the names of the people who have taken money from the sex scandal slush fund, which exists in Congress and shouldn't. And they voted, and some Republicans too, voted not to release the names of the people who have dipped into the slush fund. Well, that ought to be absolutely public knowledge. I don't see how this is even a question, and I can't believe there's zero pressure from anybody in any realm of the media, among the representatives, among Congress. People ought to be screaming at the top of their lungs. Instead, Marjorie Taylor Greene is out there running her mouth about Donald Trump. It's like, why don't you guys take your obsession with Donald Trump, just give it a break for 2 days and focus on something else? But there's a reason why they don't want to do it, because they know all that stuff will come out, and there are a lot of big names in it, I'm sure, and they're covering up. At least Josh Hawley has stepped up and is wanting to introduce legislation that will keep these people who are convicted or proven to be sex assaulters or sex harassers from getting their pensions, which is something that should have happened a long time ago. But isn't it amazing how slow these guys are to do any oversight of themselves? I mean, we see all these hearings and all these harumphers out there barking at their subjects in these committee hearings and beyond, but they're never turning their eyes to each other. It's pretty crazy. They never monitor or police each other, and now it's getting really bad, and they're just protecting each other at this point. So there needs to be some kind of changes made. I talked about Mamdani. So this is Mamdani on the 15th on tax day, and this is real. Like, this is a real life mayor.
When I ran for mayor, I said I was going to tax the rich. Well, today we're taxing the rich. I'm thrilled to announce we've secured a pied-à-terre tax, the first in New York's history. This is an annual fee on luxury properties worth more than $5 million, whose owners do not live full-time in the city. Like for this penthouse, which hedge fund CEO Ken Griffin bought for $238 million. This pied-à-terre tax is specifically designed for the richest of the rich, those who store their wealth in New York City real estate, but who don't actually live here. But even so, they're able to reap the huge financial rewards of owning property in, dare I say, the greatest city in the world. And most of the time, these units are sitting empty, since again, they don't actually live here. This is a fundamentally unfair system that hurts working New Yorkers. Now, it's coming to an end. This tax will raise at least $500 million directly for the city. It'll help fund things like free childcare, cleaner streets, and safer neighborhoods. As mayor, I believe everyone has a role to play in contributing to our city, and some a little bit more than others. Happy Tax Day, New York.
Yeah. I let this vile trust fund punk go there for a minute because I wanted to let him keep hanging himself. It took Katie Pavlich, who you all know from Fox News and everything else, to drop this on the internet and on Mamdani's head. Hey, Mamdani's family doesn't live full-time in Uganda, and yet they have a massive compound there. Perhaps the government should tax it or confiscate that one. And then it turns out that Zoran Mamdani's compound, he has a compound in Uganda. And it is rentable on Airbnb. It's a multi-million-dollar compound. And I'll read you what this compound features. Now, keep in mind, it's on Airbnb. Mamdani isn't living there, nor are any members of his family. This is the ad on Airbnb for Zoran Mamdani's compound in Uganda that he doesn't live in. Oh, I know. Oh, so it's a penthouse for white people is what Mamdani really is after in terms of taxing. If you're white and live in a penthouse, that's what people like Mamdani want to go after. Luxury home in an artist's garden on Lake Victoria. Entire home in Kampala, Uganda. 6 guests, 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, 4 beds. I don't know why there'd be 5 bedrooms and 4 beds, but whatever that, I don't know what the hell that means, but you're talking about these people. Anyway, here's some other features. The home is fully staffed with a veteran housekeeper, an excellent cook in Indian and continental cuisine. She will prepare any 2 meals of your choice daily. Guests have to provide the ingredients once a meal plan has been developed, however. Again, this is the multi-million-dollar mansion compound in Uganda owned by Zoran Mamdani, and he doesn't live there. Somebody needs to alert the Ugandan government that they can do what he's trying to do to white people in penthouses and see how far they get. Additional staff includes a cleaning lady. Laundry services are available at a fee of $15 per load. 2 gardeners supervise the exquisite gardens, swimming pool, and badminton court. Table tennis as well. 2 armed security guards inspect the premises nightly. Oh, but that would make me feel better. So what does that mean? They just stop by, your security guards just stop by. We inspect the compound nightly. It's like, oh, that probably means they don't. But anyway, this is pretty unbelievable that he could spit that out of his mouth about white people in penthouses. And white people is my terminology for it, because that's who he's really after. That's who all of Mamdani's group are after. But I don't know how you could possibly, but that's a typical, thing when it comes to Democrats. It's not that they don't have self-awareness. They just have hubris. And they are so hypocritical, but no one ever calls them on it. So it took Katie Pavlich to go on X and say, hey, dude, you who are angry at people who aren't living in their penthouses all the time, you have a Ugandan compound, multi-million-dollar that you put on Airbnb because you never live there. Wow. That's Katie Pavlich. It's not ABC News, CBS News, New York Times, Wall Street Journal. They just let Mamdani run his mouth. He's a spoiled little trust fund baby, and that's how it goes. All right. Rick Pogue is running around someplace. Where in the world is Rick Pogue? We'll find out coming up. It's Common Sense Radio.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Walner Home Selling Team. I've got a few things I'm doing this weekend, showing homes and that kind of thing. I'm almost positive writing a contract on a home I'm looking for a nice couple that are also listeners to the show and just great people. And we are looking at this home in Festus, and it's a beautiful little thing, and we will probably be writing an offer on it on Sunday night. That's just kind of what I do. I love it. We always fight for our clients on the buying end as well as the selling end. I do mostly buyer's agency. The Walner Home Selling Team is the number one home selling team in the Berkshire Hathaway network, and there's a reason for that. It's because we all work super hard. We all treat not only your pursuit of a home, but your pursuit of selling your home as a real special occasion for all of us to step up, get the job done for you, make you super happy, and get you into your dream home, and also sell that home for top dollar, where we surround it with love, pictures, drone pictures, everything else. We put it out there on the market, and we make people fight over it. And that's really how you get the top price with negotiated commission, and that's all good. And then on the buying end, we fight for you in terms of price. We kind of go on the opposite direction. So we fight for you on terms of the price, getting the best price for it, as well as negotiated commission there too. And we follow you through on all the inspections and everything else for you. So the Walner Home Selling Team, I'm just so happy I joined Rodney and Jen and the rest of the gang there. I've known Rodney and Jen for a long time. They're such special and great people. And now I work with them, which is really a treat and a privilege. 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Want to work with a winner? Follow the multiplier. 279 times growth in total market cap in the past nearly 30 years. 50 times growth in client assets. And ranked the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction by J.D. Power 3 years in a row. Choose a winner. Choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas & Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
Ladies and gentlemen, Clayton Sleep, Dr. Joe Giles, ready to help you through all of your sleep problems. Man, sleep problems are really a bummer. I mean, because they so affect your life and they so affect your health. They so affect your productivity and even sometimes your relationships. It's just something that you need to fix. Better sleep, better life. Let's talk about sleep apnea, which is, of course, otherwise known as snoring. And it's no fun, not only for you who is snoring, but also for the person who is next to you who has to listen to it. And that's a real problem. Your breathing is stopping during the night, and that's kind of scary for the person next to you. You're not even maybe noticing it, but suddenly you're not breathing, and that's a real problem. You need to get it taken care of, and Dr. Ojal has a variety of ways beyond CPAP, beyond putting the bag over your head, that will actually help you. And all you have to do is contact them at ClaytonSleep.com to either get into the clinics where they are going to be able to monitor your sleep throughout the night, very comfortable, very cozy, whatever it is. So it's not really intrusive, but they're able to monitor you during the night. You don't always have to do the sleep clinic part of it. You can also just do a consultation, whatever you think is best for you. And also when it comes to insomnia, great options as it relates to getting you to sleep naturally, without pills, without any artificial substances to try to get you to sleep, whatever. He will help you. And a lot of it's habit-oriented, a lot of it's environment-oriented, whatever. He'll help you with that. Pediatric sleep problems are no problem for Dr. Ojal and his team. Restless leg syndrome, or arm syndrome for that matter, is also something that he can really work on with you to make sure that your leg isn't waking you up in the middle of the night. That's just how it goes. And a lot of people, man, they have that problem, and they have a bad day when they're not getting good sleep. Better sleep, better life. ClaytonSleep.com. That's ClaytonSleep.com.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
Houston, we have a problem. The story behind the story. of Apollo 13.
Larry Connors USA.
Now, weeknights 6 until 8.
On News Talk STL. The Allman Report. Sponsored by Stars Gourmet Food and Wine Shop.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Fancy Friday to all of you and yours. It's Common Sense Radio and the 3 Martini Lunch. So we are looking at our traffic monitor here in the studio, and we have located Rick Pogue's truck. And so we're going to go ahead and turn on the microphone that we have installed in his dashboard that he doesn't know about yet, and talk to him about what's going on. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Hey, my friend, how are you?
Oh, you're not in your truck.
I'm at home on the couch right next to my wife.
Well, I knew that. Yeah. I just was, I just wanted
to. The Charlie Kirk assassin's attorneys try to install this court process.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is unbelievable. I mean, it's hardly getting any kind of coverage what they're trying to pull off here as well.
Yeah.
And they're bringing in these so-called expert witnesses. And I looked up the guy who was doing the work of the defense team. And basically what this is they just basically, this is a firm. Like, they advertise themselves as getting you the best jury and court results as so-called expert witnesses. And so the guys go in there claiming, I'll go in there and claim that lots of people know about this story and you can't get a fair trial and blah, 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 blah. And that's what they do.
Yes, yeah, and that's exactly what they're doing, Jamie. And the judges kind of nodding along with them, and prosecution's sitting there like he says they've had all this forever. I'll help the defense however they need. He said, but they've had all this information for a long, long time, and yeah, they're just trying to stall, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it really is, and I'm actually working on something, believe it or not, in Jefferson City on this in my lobbying world, because this adds a lot more impact to what is troubling our legal system as it is, and that is the expert witness mill, where people are being there's no real monitoring of what expert witnesses are and do and everything else. There are federal guidelines for it, but there aren't any state guidelines for it. So as one lawyer told me, it's the Wild West out there in the legal world. You can just bring up anybody. You can hire anybody to say whatever you want them to say. I'm not quite sure that's the way it has all been intended. And, I get it that a lot of the trial lawyers don't want tort reform or anything like that, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of tort reform anyway, but at least let's make the process fair and kind of balanced in the way justice ought to be balanced. It's interesting you brought that up, because I had no intention of talking about this. Didn't know you were going to bring it up, but this speaks to that overall problem all across the country.
Sure, yeah, I'm sorry. I was just happened to be watching it.
No, I know. I'm glad you brought it up. I mean, it's a big deal.
Yeah, people should have a right to a speedy trial, and they do have a right to a speedy trial. I think specifically in Utah, I think the victims have a right to a speedy trial by law there, and they're still going to pull this nonsense and see how far they can push it. Hopefully, this judge, I know nothing about this judge, but hopefully this guy has a spine and won't allow that to happen.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, now these days you never know which judge is which and what's going to happen here. But and I understand. Defense attorneys, I mean, I know that there have been, I'm not one of these people who crab about defense attorneys, because it's a constitutional right to be represented and everything else. And I don't blame defense attorneys for doing the best they can, but I would want defense attorneys to have to play by rules that make common sense. And unfortunately, that doesn't always happen, brother. So, hey, man, how about the stock market today? I was talking to Stephen Moore earlier, and he says, I think we're now well on our way to kind of everything's smoothing out just a little bit.
Well, Jamie, I haven't been around for 250 years, as long as our country has. But I will tell you, I don't think ever in our entire country's history has there ever been a time where there's been turmoil in the Middle East, specifically in the Strait of Hormuz, and the stock market, the Nasdaq's record high today, the S&P 500 record high today. You know, the Dow's up 1,000 points today. When has that in your lifetime? Do you ever remember anything like that happen? No.
During wartime, as they say, no.
During wartime?
Yeah.
No, and I think what that speaks to, what it tells me, is people have confidence in what President Trump is doing. The people who investors, people spending money, have confidence in what he's doing, and they like what he's doing. And I'm going to tell you what, when this war is over, you might see oil go right back down to 50. I mean, it's down to, I think, 84 right now or something like that, dollars a barrel. You might see $50 oil. You might see $40, $35 oil before President Trump is finished. This is amazing.
I think it is, too. And I did hear Laura Ingraham say this yesterday. I do like her. And I did hear her say this, and I think she's probably right. She says, well, hopefully, because she was interviewing a guy, and he goes, I think this is going to go on for a few more months. And Laura's like, well, I really hope that we're not doing anything with Iran by the time midterms roll around, because it doesn't, because you know how the media is going to do all this. It's not going to matter how prosperous we are, how low a gallon of gas is, whatever. If we're still somehow in a conflict with Iran, they're going to make the most of it to advance their agendas. And I think she's right about that. And I think President Trump is in a real hurry to end all this.
I agree with you 100%. I think she's right, and I think you're right. I think he will make sure this is over well before the midterms, because that would be definitely damaging to us. I'm going to tell you, I can't wait to see what the numbers are in October and November, because it's going to be we're going to have a flourishing economy. I mean, we do right now, and that's during wartime. Again, can't stress enough what a big deal that is. I don't think people understand that, but just think what the numbers are going to be when election time rolls around.
Yeah.
I think he's going to wrap this thing up in the next month.
Me too. And the Democrats are kidding themselves. I mean, obviously anything can happen, but the Democrats are out of their minds if they think there's going to be some kind of blue wave in the midterms. And again, we're going to take a few hits, because that's what happens in midterms for consequential presidents. Obama, 2010 was a disaster for Democrats. So you're going to get some degree of correction, but it's not going to be what the Democrats think it's going to be. So, hey, man.
I don't think it is either. Go ahead.
How are you going to be at the hideout tonight? What's going on?
I do. I got to run up there and meet with a contractor, and he's bringing his wife up there for dinner, and I got to meet him up there. And so I'll be up there. I'll be up there for a few hours tonight.
I'm looking forward to that. What were you talking about with one? It made me so hungry, and then I forgot about it. What were you talking about? Is it a new burger or something?
Well, our new menu, we brought the voodoo shrimp back.
Oh, nice!
Which was probably our most popular appetizer. We brought our steak sandwich back, which our steak sandwich is composed of 3 filet medallions. I mean, it's just, you can cut it with a butter knife.
I love it.
It's just great. Yeah, but our menu, Ashley and Lauren redid our menu, and it is spectacular. So
yeah,
people need to try it out. We have our pizzas with all the high-end ingredients. Same stuff you get at the restaurant on the hill on our pizzas, because we don't settle for second or third tier ingredients. Our wings, of course, are a hallmark for us.
Right on.
We had amazing wings, but yeah, our burgers are phenomenal. We have crafted burgers, so. If you haven't eaten there yet, come try it.
I'm going to check it out next week, man. I'm going to come down there. I'll make sure we plan a little rendezvous down there. And the voodoo shrimp, see, that's the kind of stuff, you take a big-ass spoonful of that, and you put it right between 2 pieces of white bread and eat it like that.
Oh, man, you're making me hungry.
I know. I mean, the voodoo shrimp is, man, it's no wonder. That's great. I'm sure yours at the hideout is amazing. All right, buddy. Well, good. I'm glad you're relaxing a little bit before the big night, and I'll talk to you again. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, my friend. Love you.
Love you too. That is the great Rick Pogue. And we are getting, and thank you, Greg. I did not know about this, but Greg is telling us, I wasn't aware of this. He says that Channel 4 KMOV says the weather is a level 3 of 5 starting tonight at 8. Baseball-sized hail possible, 60-mile-an-hour winds. So he says, be safe. Thank you, Greg, for that. I had no idea that was in the offing, but thanks for the heads up on that. So you guys be careful out there. Let's all be safe and then get through this. I told you, man, these springs in St. Louis are cray-cray. Anyway, have a really good one, everybody. And Ashlyn, thank you so much for everything. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tony Colombo and Company. Kathleen Murphy, the hideout is right there in High Ridge. See ya.
Tim Jones here to introduce you to your new favorite roofing company, Corel Roofing. There were 4 major storms last year. Did your roof take a hit? Do you even know? Most homeowner insurance policies require claims to be filed within 1 year, so time's running out for a closer look. At Corel Roofing Company, you get a local roofing specialist who will advocate for you every step of the way. Give yourself peace of mind. Schedule your roof inspection today with Corel Roofing at CorelRoofingCo.com. That's Corel